Your Saturdays are for the big dogs, and as you see, we got college football. Week 1 is here. Ohio State ready to go. We got Ohio State, Texas. Got some family coming over here, so we're doing this in the earlier part of the day. Good morning, friends and enemies. It is 11 a.m., a little bit after 11 actually. But let me know what you guys got going on today, who you like in the Ohio State-Texas game, and what you think of college football being here. We're only a week away from the NFL season. Actually, Thursday we'll get our first game. The Cowboys will be without Micah Parsons. That's wild, to say the least. Cowboys and Eagles. I will say, though, if the Eagles have absolutely nothing to gain with this game, right? If they were to lose to the Cowboys after trading Parsons, getting those rings won't feel so great at the time. But what's going on, everybody? How's it going? I see we got some people in the chat. Let me know if you're here. At least throw me a "yer." What's going on, everybody? And man, Dynasty's starting to meet that redraft at full force right now. I'm seeing some trades where, you know, in let's say May, June, no one would have even thought of trading, like, shout out to one of our patrons, right? Travis Hunter, as well as Ty Warren, trying to get rid of both of those young rookies in a big deal. Probably doesn't happen, I don't think, in the summer. But right now, I think redraft season is fully kicking in, and we're going to see how you guys' teams are doing. What's going on, everybody? We got Finnegan, Odell. Yes, sir. What's up, AJ? AJ Urban. Hey, we got Tony Taylor. Sent the offer. See? How did do we have any? Let me know if we get any response from that, by the way. And let me know if, and it probably doesn't happen. No. See? I love the honesty. And that's okay, because redraft season is here. First timer here, would love for you to love over my first Dynasty team. Well, I will try to love over it. I'll look over it too. Go ahead and let me know what your username is on Sleeper. Let's go to the lab. What do you think, buddy? This is my team up here, but if you let me know your Sleeper username, we will dig into your first Dynasty team, and I'll try to love on it. I see he puts look in there. I'm just messing with you, buddy. Okay. All right. So we got spoon. Man, y'all big dogs really are spoon fed too. That's the thing about it. Sit here, spoon feed you every week. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So spoon fed 7. Let's see what you got, buddy. Appreciate you being here today. All right. So let's take a look at this one. I like this. Who's your daddy? Look at me. I'm your daddy now. Okay, we got 12 on the keep trade cut starter rank. Let's see what. Let's have a real look at it. So, spoon fed 7. Saying, is this your team here? Oh no, here we got spoon fed right here. See it? All right, boom. So 9 on the left. Let's take a look. Dak Prescott, Javonte, DeAndre Swift. We got Neighbors. Puka Igbuka is an elite wide receiver tandem. I really like that. Loveland. I love the values of Pollard and Aaron Jones at running back too. We got Stroud, we got Tua, and we got Dak. Okay, it's a solid. It's not a overly inspiring quarterback room, but it's solid. It can get the job done. Rico, Trevor Etienne. Okay, so you got, if anything happens to Chuba, you've got definitely the inline waiting people. We got Cedric Tillman, Michael Wilson, Hollywood, Trey Tucker, Parker Washington, John Mechie, Jermaine Burton, Troy Franklin. We got Chiggy Ferguson, Jake Ferguson, that is, not Terrence. And we've got Cade Stover. Oh, man. First Dynasty team, and I can tell you either know what you're doing or you've been paying attention to what I've been preaching. I love seeing in the cupboard 326 first and an extra second. All right. I mean, you're in a great spot. Knowing you have those extra 3 picks. One of the things too, did you just draft this team, Spoonfed? Was this an orphan, or is this a team that just had a startup somewhat recently? It is a Superflex 12 team, half PPR. Damn it, Finnegan! I can't hardly be any more excited with this Ohio State game coming up, and now I feel like I just took a blue chew. Love what I'm hearing. Love what I'm seeing. What I was gonna ask you. I just lost all my train of thought here. Oh, yeah, what I was asking. Yeah, startup just happened. Okay, ended a week ago. And one of the things I love about this too, right? At the end of a startup, it's extremely rare. This is one thing I would like to talk about with everyone too. It's extremely rare that there's actually that much parity. I mean, there's a ton of parity, right? There's extremely rare that there's a bunch of teams that have run away from the pack right out of a startup. And the reason that's important is, by and large, like, there actually was a team this year that I did send a startup pick, my first round pick, in a startup. But by and large, I like to be on the acquiring startup picks, because let's take a look at who's first you have here. So we got TOUB right here, dead in the middle, right? You could see it going either way, but you're typically able to get those first for what people would view as like a late first round pick, right? With all the upside of possibly even an early pick. So we'll take a look at his team in a second, but let's see. And also Mean Dog 17. Okay, and Mean Dog currently is at the top. But if you see here just from projection starter, there's not a whole lot of difference between these teams. So let's take a look at his team real quick. Darnold, Chase Brown, Genty, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tet, Pat Fryermuth, Alvin Kamara, Omarion Hampton, Geno, and Bryce. Obviously, you can make the case that this team is pretty top-heavy. I like the build, honestly, with only having, like, your main weakness being tight end position. That's fine. But if you look at the bench, right, it's Khalil Shakir solid off the bench. But there's really not much here. If there's one or two injuries to this team, you could be, I don't want to say it's a lottery ticket, but you could see this team barely missing the playoffs or not actually, finishing that, going that far. So it could be a 107, 108, 109 type pick. Tobe, or T-O-U-B, we got McCarthy, Taylor, Eckler, CD. I mean, we're rocking Rashid Shaheed in the starting lineup. George Pickens. We got Andrews, Jacoby Myers, Penix, Bo Nix. I'd imagine Bo Nix is not going to be. It's got a good quarterback room, but I imagine Bo Nix is playing week 1. RJ Harvey off the bench, definitely some upside there. So I would imagine then you would slide Jacoby Myers into Rashid Shaheed's spot and put RJ Harvey as a flex or a running back. Again, these are solid teams, but there's no guarantee that these teams are like locked into getting to the championship game, let alone even necessarily making the playoffs with a few injuries to them. So I love what you did here, grabbing those picks. A few things I would tell you to clean up here, because I do love what you've done, but a few things to I would focus on personally. Roster construction. Right now you have your big 3 receivers here, right? So then we got Tillman at your 4, Wilson at your 5, Hollywood at your 6. But after that, so Trey Tucker went to CVCA High School. Shout out CVCA in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. That's where I went. But realistically, Trey Tucker, Parker, maybe not Parker Washington, but these guys are fringy at best, as far as, like, if you're really going to feel good about starting them. Parker Washington maybe if there's actually injuries to BTJ and Travis Hunter. But by and large, like Mechie, Jermaine Burton, Troy Franklin, I don't want to roster this many wide receivers this far down in the Dynasty ranks. So I'd probably be looking to see if I could, on the auto-accept trade block, put 4, maybe, at least 4 of these guys on the auto-accept trade block, ask for any third or something like that. See if I can move off of them. Some of them I'd probably even take a 4th just to free up those roster spots, because what I would like to do is get more running backs onto this team. Like any running back on a 53, if there's some injuries, kind of the same principle you have here with Rico Dowdle and ETN. Those guys might end up having standalone value throughout the season. We don't necessarily know that yet, but having more people that if there's an injury or two in front of them, they could end up sliding into your starting roster or become someone that you could trade pretty easily right away. So that would be the last thing that I'm talking with you through. Okay. Shit, I got a whole bunch of comments from you here. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. Traded your 402. I mean, this is probably a smash. What do you remember? Tell me what was the 402? Because that, I would imagine it was done like on the clock. But the 402 down to the 607 in a first is an easy win. Then you traded McCarthy, who was the 511, for Tobbs. Okay, so for a first and a second for the 511 is fine too, but that one's not necessarily as big of a smash. Going from the 402 to the 607 and a first is a pretty damn big W, I would say. He took Tet. Okay. And what did you get at 607? Loveland at the 607. So, yeah, I probably would have went a different direction at the 607 than Loveland, but that's also a pretty good value for him. So, I like it, but either way though, I like it for your team so far. I think you've got a roster that sneakily could compete. You've got quarterback depth. I think that's what I'm looking to do though, is try to shore up my bench throughout the year, and I'm probably trying to get rid of some of these kind of roster clogger type receivers. So let me know if that makes sense, and if you've got any other questions for me. If we want to go back to the lab, we will. But for now, we'll get into. Phil says lock in. Let's lock it in, baby. Lock it in. I didn't see any answers or questions. How do we know, or what are you guys thinking about the Texas-Ohio State game? Okay, Toki 4, I'm going to get right back to you. Let me just see what these other comments and questions are real quick, and I'm going to pull yours back up on the lab. What are your thoughts on Jalen Coker? It's a good question. I think I'm cautiously a little bit bullish on him. I think that I think he still has a chance to earn a pretty good role in this offense. Like outside of Tet, no one has really truly proven all that much. So cautiously, optimistic, I would say. But everything from the draft capital, the profile, all that, it's very sketchy. So I would say I'd be willing to probably, in a vacuum, move off of him for a third round type pick and liquidate. But I don't have a problem rostering him. I have him in plenty of teams. So no problem, Finnegan. I got you. We're gonna get to Tony. We're gonna get to Tony's squad. Okay. Touched on this with Nick. Oh wait, I will get to this, Steven. I promise you. But AJ has a question. Do you think the word "sent," the C or the S is silent? Sent. It would be, the C would be silent, right? Because if I said it S-E-N-T, sent. If I sent an offer, the scent, the smell, it's the same. So wouldn't it be the C? But I actually don't know why. Is there no right answer on this one? But I love this. You guys are welcome to ask me any question you want to, by the way, just like AJ did. It doesn't always have to be Dynasty. Yes, hey, you know what? Shout out, by the way. I will say Nick runs shit. Nick does run shit. He runs bdge.co. By the way, if you want to go be a part of these live streams like everyone is here, bdge.co, become a Big Dog member, get access to the Discord, and you will have access to the private link. But yeah, the pink slush, man, legit. No cap, although I am rocking a cap. All right, so I touched on this with Nick, but do I go CD at the 4 in my 14-team league? Running backs that come back are not great for running back 1. James Cook, Hampton, or Walker if I'm lucky. Safer to go RB over CD or go with my guy. So is this redraft or Dynasty? Not that it really matters. If it's one quarterback, let me say this. It does a little bit. Dynasty, I would 100% be going CD Lamb. Redraft, I think I'm also going CD, to be honest with you. The way I kind of view it is, if you're at the 4 in a 14 team, right, by the time it's going to come back to you, and then also, is it third round reversal or not? Redraft, sorry. No worries. I'm just trying to clarify to answer the question best. Is it third round reversal? Because especially if it's not, but even if it is, you're not coming back until, I don't even know. Math is hard right now. It's early. It's going to be a long way till you get your pick up. So your pick back in round 2. So it's not like if you draft a running back here, right? If you were to go a Gibbs or a Bijan, which I'm not even sure either one of those guys will be there. If you think you're going to get CD at the 4, but if you went there, it's not like on the way back you're going to get a wide receiver in the caliber of CD either. You're going to be seeding, not CD. You're going to be seeding some big time value by the time it comes back to you. So I'm personally of the mindset, I think that I would go with, in this league, I would probably go with CD at 4, especially if he's there, and then go ahead and lock in some of those, tier 2. There's a whole bunch of tier 2 type of running backs. Chase Brown probably is not there, but James Cook, Hampton, Chase Brown, guys like that would be my targets. Kenneth Walker would be fine. He would probably be my least favorite of the guys you mentioned, but yeah. And that's another thing, right? So full PPR, I'm going to get CD, because if you go with no third round reversal, even if you come back, you're going to get I don't know who would be there necessarily, not quite as low as T, but you're going to get, a second tier, third tier receiver. Like Amon-Ra even's probably going to be gone. So, and then you have a much longer wait again until it comes back to you. I think I'm taking CD for sure, now that I'm thinking this out a little more with you. That's my personal opinion. I think Nick. I'm almost positive Nick feels the same. So we're in lockstep on this one. Do I get AJ? Do I get an answer, or do you know what the answer is on the scent question? All right, let's go into Tony. Let's pull up your team, buddy. Let's do this. Check out the lab. Make sure you go check this out. It's a free tool. It's a South Harmon tool, but I use it for Dynasty all the time. It's the THE for the Ohio State University. It's the THE-LAB.southharmonff.com. Once you go there, you can type in your user, which here is Toki4, and we'll pull up his leagues. All right, Toki, let's see what we're working with here. I'm trying to remember the league. Let me see if I can find it, because I know you told me last night. Which league is it, buddy? I can probably find it, because I know you have Jalen Warren and How about Tyler Warren and Travis Hunter? So let's see. BTA, Toki4. Is this it? This is not it. Let me know if you're here still with me. Okay. FF, thanks for helping me lock this in. FFU1. Let's get it. Toki4. All right. So if I remember correctly, too, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said you won last year, and this offseason you've been kind of active doing a lot of retooling, which I love to see that. Sometimes one of my favorite things to do actually is once I win and secure the bag, if it makes sense based on the league market dynamics, kind of just tear it down and go into a light rebuild for a year or two and then come back strong as hell. Especially if my team is like it won with some aging players. Now, if I won and I am super young, no need to do that. But let's see what you got here, buddy. So we got Fields, we got Kyron Jacobs, Justin Jefferson, JSN, Kelsey, Hampton, Calvin Ridley, Tyrone Tracy. Yeah, I remember you saying this was a team where the quarterbacks are a little sketch with Darnold and then Stafford. We got Rattler, Dimes. So you do have a whole bunch of starters technically right now. But Dylan Gabriel, Cam Miller, Joe Milton. We got Jerome Ford. Oh, Dylan Sampson on the bench is a nice little plug. We got Travis Hunter off the bench, Khalil Shakir. So you got some little value pockets here. Trey Harris might be someone I'm considering moving when McMillan's fully healthy. Maybe his value recovers. This is the one thing. This is a half PPR league, and this is what you were talking with me about. You got 5 tight ends, and for me, it's not helpful with my roster construction to have this many. Now, I tend to like to go thin if I have a really good one. Like if I had Warren, I'm probably only going to have one more tight end. Andrews, maybe if Andrews is my one, I might have 2. But I like to go pretty thin. You don't have to necessarily go as thin as I do, but this just kind of makes it tough because you have a lot of decisions on a weekly basis where you might not even know who to play. So it makes it actually difficult for you. When I'm looking at this team, so I do really like the idea. I know we were talking about you sent it for Amon-Ra. I do still like that a lot because you put Amon-Ra in with this roster, Jefferson, JSN, Amon-Ra. I think your team's really damn good. I will say, though, if that doesn't get done, I think we move on from that, especially seeing that you only have to start with 2 receivers in this league. So the reason I say that is if you can secure, to me, Amon-Ra is a top 5, 6 receiver. Done. Let's lock that in. But if I'm not doing that, I think when I look at this, knowing that it's 3 flex, I think super flex is something that we should at least consider addressing. Now, I know we talked in the Discord last night, and I'm with you by and large that like if I'm looking to get a really good quarterback, a stud, a Konami code, rushing quarterback if I can, and otherwise I'm not going to like pay up in this league for a Stroud or something like that. If I don't have to, so that's probably where I'm at with this league. Let me just see what your competition kind of is looking like. Herbert and Hurts. Okay, we got Bucky. This team's pretty good. Let's see what the bench looks like. He's got Caleb off the bench, Mason off the bench. It's a solid team. But you did say you won this league last year, right? I think. Yeah, I mean, Amon-Ra is definitely still a play if you can get that one done. But I think quarterback is something we need to address personally. The tight ends were cheap, flex buys. I had no wide receivers. No, that makes sense. And that is one thing with 3 flexes. But I'll pull up the warp in this league too. I want to see what the quarterback scoring looks like. But I am AJ. There is not an answer. I love that. I love that. If tomatoes are fruits, is ketchup technically a smoothie? Well, if the theme stays correct and there is no answer, then I'm saying no. No you. Hell no. If you drink ketchup, you might as well drink lead paint. Would you trade A.J. Brown to get your own 26 first back, I would then think, in season in hopes of getting number one? Ooh, this is a good question, Phil. Thanks for the advice the other week, man. Helped me out a lot. Draft went well. I was able to fix my running back room and grab both Hampton and Judkins. Hey, you got it, buddy. You got it, Tyler. Tony, let's see. Yep, I beat the team you just looked at with Chase. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the warp 2 here. We'll go back to it. But tell me what you're thinking. Let's say, because I know you sent out that offer. Let's say, just hypothetically, though, that the guy says no or comes back and asks for something that's too much. What do you think? Because I know your question initially was, who would you target if I was looking to move off of Hunter and Warren? And I don't think you have to do it, but I do think it makes sense at this time to try to explore it. Yeah, QB might be the answer. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up here. So we're at Toki 4. I'm going to put this into the warp tool and pull it up and kind of get a peek here of what we're looking at with scoring. Can you tell me one thing? So warp will show me wins over the replacement player, but it actually I don't have the ability to just see what your scoring is outright. Are there any scoring settings that I should know or note in this league? Typically, warp will kind of give you an idea, but it would be nice to actually know, hey, is this 6 point per passing touchdown? Are there any bonuses extreme for skill players or QBs? All right, let's go ahead and here. Let me show you a little bit what we're working with here, Tony. So this is kind of what I would expect to see for a lot of 12-team Superflex leagues in Warp. So this is multi-year, which means for the last 5 years on average, this is what wins over the replacement player looks like. And if you see here, kind of what I would have thought, like having a top 12 to 15 quarterback is really worth it. It's huge as far as wins over replacement goes, right? You're looking at, right at 3 wins over the replacement player, all the way up to 6 where and the reason I say that is it's just as valuable as having a stud wide receiver or running back, and actually more for the most part here, all the way up. It's the top position. If we look at single year last year, where quarterback across the board was actually pretty low relative to the 5-year window, we'll get a visual for that too. But okay, pretty similar, honestly. Yeah, look at that, top 15 basically are 3 wins over the replacement player. So, and look, even the top positional scorers were QBs last year. But this is if I have them or I don't. Like you're correct, I think, with the roster construction you have or the way that you've built it. Is if I don't have one of those guys, let me throw in the Fields. Let me throw in, let me just patchwork this together, because paying up for quarterbacks that are not going to finish very high, these guys are not really. They don't matter all that much. Just throw in any one of the starters. So I think it makes a lot of sense, though, to try to see especially if you're bringing Travis Hunter and Tyler Warren already to the table. Like if you're going to try to bring out some, big guns, so to speak, as far as value, I think it's at least worth exploring. Can we get you a positional upgrade at QB? George, I got your question started. I'm going to get to it here in a second. The only major one is 5 point. Okay, so it's 5 point passing touchdown. No bonuses. I do think Darnold can be top 15 in my opinion, but that's maybe 12 at best. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll say this personally. I am very, very skeptical of the roster, the team that Seattle has now, and I think we'll find out here pretty quickly if I could see this being a Kevin O'Connell thing for Sam Darnold primarily. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to be completely awful, but I wouldn't be shocked if he is. Any QB. Yeah, so this is, I think, here, let's go back to the lab, all right? Great question. Let's get right into that. So I'm going to try to finish this one out, George, and I'll get to your question, all right? But let me just give you some ideas here. I'm probably looking to see what I would do is just kind of start at the bottom. Let me ask you this question too, Tony. Do you know, are there any teams that are like committed or locked into rebuilding? Because if they are, let's just see what they have. Now, they may not have anything worthwhile at the QB spot, but if people are already kind of rebuilding, I think it's worth looking at. If you weren't moving on from Hunter, I think T-Law, depending on cost, might be worth trying to stack with a guy like Travis Hunter if you do have him. If you're moving on from him to trade, wouldn't necessarily be as a bigger priority. But if you believe that Travis Hunter and BTJ can coexist as very high options, inherently you're betting on T-Law as well. So I think that's one thing to note there. I'm probably not – see, these type of quarterbacks would not be the ones I'm paying up for personally. I like Drake May. I think he's extremely talented. But I don't think he's going to end up being or offering kind of like Herbert almost, where really great quarterback, awesome arm, but I don't think he's going to have a ton of rushing upside, and I don't think he's worth paying up the full boat premium for right now, similarly to Stroud. So those are quarterback styles I'd probably avoid if I was going to pay up for one. Like I'm probably, to be completely honest, I'm probably looking at Caleb's pretty expensive right now. I think if this guy's not truly contending or finds out that he's not contending, which I don't think his team looks like it is, I think Dak's a pretty decent quarterback bet because he's not going to cost an arm and a leg. Even though he doesn't offer a ton of rushing, they just lost Micah Parsons too. They're going to have to score a ton. So he would be one of the cheaper ones, I would argue, if you're going to go with more of a pocket passer. I think if I'm not getting that, though, what I'd be looking to do is try to see if it's possible to grab a Lamar, an Allen, a J-Day, a Hurts. And if not, I'll be honest, I know it's gross. Here we go. Here's Kyler. I think Kyler is pretty value depressed and might sneakily offer some upside. And I know actually this is the person you said that you traded McCarthy to now as well. So if you have some rapport with him, I think Kyler and Dak would be the cheaper options I'd look for. When I say cheaper, relative to, the full boat cost of – I don't know realistically. Sometimes in leagues like this where we're starting 10, people won't even move off of Allen. Lamar here. We already know your team. And we have – where is J-Day on – Jalen Hurts. Where's Jaden Daniels? Did I miss him? Where is J-Day? Maybe I'm tripping. I may have already seen him. Oh, shit. My guy has Jaden Daniels and Josh Allen. That's a low-key a cheat code. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Hold on. So Quinn will be best to look at. All right. Let's start with that. I think he had – is this the dude that had he's got Jordan Love. I think depending on what Jordan Love's cost is too, I'm not going to pay like 2 firsts for Jordan Love. But if you're able to send like honestly, I don't know. I think there's a chance that package would get it done for a guy like Jordan Love. I don't hate that either. I think Jordan Love, I'd rather have Amon-Ra than Love, but similarly, maybe you can even get a kickback in like a second-round pick or something. But Love would be someone, depending on what the cost is, I'd be sneakily interested in. But yeah, I think you said something about T-Law here. T-Law owner and I are in a no trading situation. He won't trade with me. That's fine. He's off. Dak would be a good one to target. No. Similarly, I would say to me, Purdy of the guys, I would rather have Dak than Purdy because typically Dak's going to cost less than Purdy. But if you're telling me Purdy and Dak cost the same, I have absolutely no problem going to get Purdy either. So, I would say typically just based on what his dynasty cost roughly is, he'd probably be my least favorite of the options to go get. But given your quarterback room and if he's reasonable, yeah, absolutely. Purdy would be someone to get. But just one for one, I would much rather have Love than Purdy personally. So those would be, I think, the targets. Let me just give you an idea for Dak, and then we'll go to my guy George here. Let's see. Where is Dak at? Is this Dak? Yeah, okay. So is this guy rebuilding or trying to contend? Let's see what he's got He's kind of in a rough situation. Typically, you can tell by his draft picks. He's got an extra third. So I don't know. He probably views he's somewhat in the mix of contending and maybe would rebuild if he has to. I guess that's the other thing to keep in mind too. Sometimes right now, the season's basically here, right? People aren't as willing to trade away players for draft picks or for like players like Travis Hunter and Tyler Warren anymore because they want to have guys that they think are going to score. So this could be something where you have to slow play it. You just have to play the quarterbacks you have. But as teams are kind of becoming clearly out of the mix in the playoffs, keep guys like this start on your, your target list, Dak Prescott types. But I don't know. I mean, Dak's definitely worth the first to me. I would happily send out my first, I think, with your team. I think your team is going to have a hard time missing the playoffs, especially if you got a guy like Dak. But do you have your first here? You're down to 26. Okay. So, I mean, listen, if you could send Tyler Warren straight up for Dak, I mean, that's done in a heartbeat, personally. But I'm definitely not sending – I'm not putting Travis Hunter in the mix for Dak Prescott, though. Let me just say that way. He's rebuild? Okay, yeah. Damn, I wish you had your 26 first. I would float that out there. Tyler Warren for Dak. See what he says there. I think it's a fair starting point. To me, I would much rather have Dak, but I think some people might just be willing to take that. But if the Amon-Ra trade goes through, we'll have to go somewhere else. But let me know. All right, George, I got you starred. I told you I'd get to you. We got you, buddy. Redraft question, half PPR. Would you flex Ibuka even though I'm already starting Evans, or should I go Pearsall? Great question. I think right now you probably week one should start Pearsall. I think we look at the way he finished last year, the targets he was getting, the targets he should get with Ayuk out. I'd probably go Pearsall. I'll say at least week one until we see what happens. But I will say with Ibuka, and last year I actually had Godwin and Evans and your idiot league mates. Shout out to any of the sexual, if you're in here, or any of your idiot league mates, the BDGE guys, if you're watching this. They kept trying to come pluck either Godwin or Evans, kind of like you don't want to start both of them. Well, actually, I believe I do, one. And two, I think a lot of times the way I look at it in a regular redraft league. So if you're playing in a best ball, like high stakes league where you're having to like score the extreme high percentile amount of points, you probably want to steer away from having both of these guys because you have a higher ceiling. You have a higher ceiling if you have, let's say, only Evans and you have another potential one or two on another team because on a weekly basis, they could both just go crazy. One, if you look at Godwin and Evans last year, there was scenarios where they both went crazy in the lineup at the same time. But the one thing, especially in like a redraft league where we're 10, 12, 14 teams, see, you don't have to always have just the highest ceiling. Sometimes you can win by having a really safe floor. Like, it's basically, last year it was pretty unlikely that Godwin or Evans were both going to bust at the same time. That's the scenario if you have, let's say, Evans and JSN. They both could end up having weeks where they're wide receiver 30 or lower. So I'm personally someone that I would say, by and large, answering this question, I have no problem flexing both Ibuka and Evans or two receivers that I think are really good. Like, think about it like this. Like, would you have a problem flexing or putting Smitty and A.J. Brown on the same roster? Like, me personally, I wouldn't in a redraft league, and that's kind of how I view this. I'm not worried about putting them both in my roster at the same time. Of course, big dog, I got you, man. I got you and anybody else. If anybody else got some dynasty teams you want to pull up or other questions, I got y'all ready to rock, man. Okay. Hey, you traded your first away 2 weeks ago. Makes sense. I've seen I'll have to get a video out next year for this, but right now I'm just doing the lives because we don't have, since losing Tony, we don't have the editing powers that we used to. So it's a lot of times right before the season, everybody's itching. They got a draft picks burning holes in their pockets. They're itching to get rid of them. So it was okay. I don't mind this, though, especially when I'm looking at your team, which I think I still have up. I don't mind this really that much, especially because I think your team is pretty locked in to being a contender. And if you don't have, for example, let's say you don't have Jacobs, you're running back to You could have had Hampton in there, but then your flexes would be a lot lower too. You'd have to be rolling out Tracy, Dylan Sampson maybe week 1, Travis Hunter. I think, and Ridley for a second. See, these are both guys I don't mind buying. I think the upside probably lies with the picks. If everything disastrous happened to your team and these were both early, you'd probably want the picks next year this time. But I think given what you've done, Jacobs is probably one of the few running backs where, like, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And I think if this builds out your team the right way, it's perfectly okay. I don't personally mind moving off of Savion Williams at all in this one. Phil, thank you for asking this again, and I apologize. I forgot to get to you. Okay. Would you trade A.J. Brown to get your own 26 first back? Phil, give me your sleeper username. Let's go to the full dynamics of this. I'll answer it generically too, but I think to me it's worth bringing up all the specifics of it. Tony, I mean, I would definitely. I think I'd definitely be about this. I think the reality is Fields and Dak are kind of similar in dynasty value. I would rather have Dak, and then I would send Warren in a third for T Higgins for sure. So, if you wanted to start here and you were able to go back and you do just Dak for Tyler Warren, that's fine too. But I think it's definitely it's creative, and if that works, 100%. One thing I'll tell you is, when you send that out, if there's a counter back or you see something in that counter, try to keep the assets as much as possible geared towards what the counter comes back to you at. Let the guy feel like he's getting something that he wants out of the deal. All right, so A.J. Brown. Oh, this is that Phil Goats. Okay, so this is that contract league. Phil loves giving me the contract league questions, and I love answering them and talking about them. Let's go to the lab here. It's this league, right? Utica Dynasty. Okay. All right. So the $80 for the next 2 years. So I would get off his large contract as well. Okay. Oh yeah, that does that throws another wrinkle in there. Okay, so let's look at your roster. It doesn't make sense to just go ahead and nuke this thing, rebuild it. So it's one quarterback. You're kind of in the middle. Is this one of those where that's kind of the price if you want to get it back? Who has your pick, by the way? I guess it doesn't necessarily matter if that's what the cost is. If you go to rebuild, does your money even matter? Like, does the contracts matter all that much? Frankly, if you got off of this, I think it's an extra bonus. I think in a vacuum, when I look at your team, it's good. It's probably unlikely to be a true contender this year. So I get the idea of wanting to drive it down. I'll just say this: if you go that route, I would say on the surface, when I look at next year this time, the 26, 101, and A.J. Brown, they're probably going to be going similarly. Like, Gentile was a early second-round pick, but I don't know that right now I don't project anyone in the 26 class, unless Sellers gets, like, super high draft capital, to be higher valued than A.J. Brown is next year. So it's probably like a wash where you feel like right now you're ceding some value because you're giving A.J. Brown in the season. But the way in which it would make the most sense and for you to actually get the most – where that trade makes the most sense, knowing you're kind of washing at best there, is then making sure that you're getting off of like TJ Hawkinson when he's scoring points and showing like he's back to his full snap share and the upside that he has that we haven't seen, since the injury. DJ Moore, if he's having a good week. If Chris Olave, God forbid, he just sucks all year, but if he has some good weeks, show some signs of life with Spencer Rattler. Like, moving off of those to not only make sure you secure the 101, but getting off of them for more draft capital, where I think in season, kind of signaling if you're selling A.J. Brown here, I think signals to everyone. It's almost like they can see the blood in the water. All right, he's willing to sell. But just make sure that you're getting back values there to almost make the deal for A.J. Brown make sense and kind of fully nuking this into a rebuild. So, like DJ Moore, Chris Olave, TJ Hawkinson, Dobbins would be guys I'm trying to probably actively move off of. Hampton, definitely willing to keep, as well as Tet. And you have a lot of young players on the bench. So I think the answer probably would be yes. I think the answer probably would be yes. It's tough, though. It's right on the edge. The thing is, if you're going to do that, and why I went through that exercise, if you're not looking at this team specifically, you're asking that same question for yourself. The only way I'm gonna do this is if I can guarantee. You're kind of have to be pot committed to this. Like, in order to make this type of a deal, you have to ensure that you're going to get the 101, and go ahead and make sure you nuke this thing to the studs so that you can do so. Honestly, I feel like I'm losing, but it seems like it's the – yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Right now, on the surface, it's going to be a deal that you know, the league's going to view you as losing this deal for sure. But I think you have to kind of commit to this is what the cost is, and I'm going to go ahead and fully nuke this rebuild if you do it. Offer sent. I'm optimistic because he's accepted way worse offers in the past. Hey, that's something actually good to note. I think understanding your league mates and the dynamic there is huge. I think, too, if you know he's rebuilding, Dak is definitely an asset you want to get off of. T probably should be. Some people in a rebuild don't think they need to get off of T. Higgins, but I do like that. I'm going to be honest, man. I love fucking AJ's questions. Other than water, if you could only drink one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? Oh, man. See, you'll normally see me, I'll have a water, but you probably rarely see me drinking it on air with like an energy drink or, I just finished up this Coke here. So the thing is, if you told me I couldn't have water though, like just drinking energy drinks or Coke would be awful without water. So it's a damn good question, AJ. I think you have to have some kind of a water variant here. Like, it's got to be like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say like something like Propel or Gatorade, some shit like that. That'd be the way it'd have to go if I couldn't have water. Oh, are you saying I can still have water? Then okay. If I can still have water, it would be, Alani, Coke, something like that. Something with caffeine. Coffee. Yeah, coffee would be good too, for sure. Yep. So, caffeine. How about that? Yeah, I need caffeine is the other thing. Yes, I can. All right. With the game's coming up here soon, and I got some people coming over, but I got some time to look at some shit, and definitely time to look at Nick runs. So let's get a couple more questions in. All right. What are we at? 11:45. We're good. We got plenty of time. All the time in the world. All right. Nick runs shit. I love that too, by the way. Username not found. Nick runs. You know what I did? Forgot to. I need to go 2 S's, and then we'll go there. Boom. All right, Nick runs shit. Let's go take a look at. it. Okay, so give me. Yeah. You know it, baby. You know it, AJ. I appreciate you coming in and mixing it up with me. It's fucking good stuff. Shitter's gonna win. Is the contending league okay? So that's the one you want me to look at, Nick? Shitter's gonna win. And also here, Steven, I'm gonna give you a quick answer right now. All right, so H-Chain at round 14 cost with injury for 1 year, or Chase Brown at round 11 cost for 2 years. I think to be honest here, like if they were the same years, I would definitely ride H-Chan here. I think knowing I get 2 years out of this, the cost difference isn't crazy. I might go with the Chase Brown side, not necessarily because of the injury, just because I think there's a scenario where he's the starter for 2 more years and you get a pretty damn good discount for 2 years. So I think that's where I'm at. All right, Dynasty League is okay. The Dynasty League is a rebuild. All right, so let's go ahead. So you want me to look at Shitter's gonna win in the Dynasty League? I got you on that one, and we'll get out of here after that. Non-fantasy question. First name that comes to mind: who wins the MVP this year? I want to say first thing that comes to mind is Flacco, but that's obviously not being serious. Let me throw you out a dark horse that I don't believe, but now with the trade of Parsons, I feel like at the cost, I got a couple in there for like plus 2 something on Jordan Love, and I didn't really love it, but someone was saying that's worth sprinkling. I think a dark horse. I don't really believe Jordan Love, frankly, but I feel like at the cost that would be kind of my dark horse, and I have a little bit of cash on it. All right, let's go with the shitter's going to win the contending team first, and then we'll go to the rebuilders. All right, and then we'll go see what Ohio State and Texas looks like. Where is your team at? Nick Wrench. What am I talking about? Looking all the way at the bottom. Of course, he's at the top. All right, so let's take a peek here. We got J-Day. We got Devon Achane, Chase Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Got all the Browns. We got Debo. We got Njoku, Eckler, Burrow. Kicker defense. Not going to not going to take any time on that one. So we got Flacco, JCM. We got Bigsby, Corum, Addison off the bench, Hunter off the bench. Okay, your team is nice. Down your pick. Ooh, all right. So we're down the 27 first and second and 26 first and second, which makes sense why the team kind of looks like this. I'm glad to see you at least have JCM as hopefully some running back depth here. It's actually funny. We were just talking about with the keeper question, Achane and St. Brown, or Achane and Chase Brown, right? So this is these are shorter benches in a dynasty style league. So here's what I will tell you, right? The way I think I would be a lot more extreme given the shallow bench spots on roster construction than I would in other leagues, because of like right now you have basically if something was to happen, you already have injuries, right? Achane's already kind of dealing with injury. You have Eckler, who's at this point getting really long in the tooth. So if just think, live in a world where those two guys are missing time, right? JCM, you hope, can step in and be your RB2. And in that scenario, if that was the case, you'd be fine. Bigsby, I think, has an outside chance. But outside of Corum now, you don't even have any running back depth at all. So I think what I'm doing in a league like this, personally, is I'm being really aggressive. Like McCaffrey, honestly, probably is going to be gone for me. And I'd be moving off of one of, if not both of, like Lane. I'm trying to basically make sure that my roster construction is really tight on only having – I'd probably want to have like Addison, Hunter, Pierce, like 6 receivers. Is that what you have right now? 1, 2, 3, 4 with Hunter, 5 with Pierce, 6 with Addison. Yeah, I think like having 6 legit receivers that you feel like you could start on a weekly basis in this league, because it is 3 receivers, is – oh, no, it's only 2 receivers. Yeah, definitely. 6 receivers is perfectly fine if you only have to start 2, and then you have that one flex spot. And then the rest of these, I'm probably going to start trying to, see what's out there on the wire. See if I can maybe trade some of these receivers into some players in the Bigsby to Corum ranges where they're an injury or 2 away from having real life in my starting lineup. Especially because right now you only have, I think you got 4 solid running backs, right? Achane, Chase Brown. I don't know if I want to call Eckler solid, but you got Eckler and you got the backfield in Washington. So that would be my suggestion. But I do think your team is definitely a contender. I'm just, especially not having my first, I want to make sure my roster construction is kind of built as much as possible so that I don't get screwed and I'm in a pinch where I don't have my picks and I'm dealing with a bunch of injuries and I'm kind of SOL, so to speak. All right, let me say, where's the other league? The Dynasty League. All right, this is your rebuild, you said, right? And you're not on here. Oh, perfect. All right, so listen. Here's what I'll say is good. I talk about this all the time. Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last. That's kind of I played a little more that way in Dynasty. I want to be towards the top or towards the bottom. Now, just because you're towards the top doesn't guarantee you're going to win. There's a lot of variance still. But I try not to in most of my leagues. Ideally, I don't want to get stuck in the middle a lot. So I love seeing this from you already. All right, so you got Rodgers and Daniel Jones as quarterbacks. I think if you're rebuilding, these are assets that during the season I'm actively in trying to liquidate at all costs. I will say having a rebuild team though, where you got Chase, Hunter, and Brock Bowers, is nice, really nice. I'm gonna be honest though. Basically everything else. Oh damn, it's a tough sight to see. You're down your 26 first, but there's nothing you can do about it, right? I think getting it back. Like one thing I'm not doing is sending away Brock Bowers, Hunter, or Chase to get my first back. So if there's another way you can get your first back, like if Harvey has to go in the mix, fine. But if it's those guys, then you can go ahead and just keep my 26 first. Fuck it. But I think everybody else, I'm actively looking to move. Like Travis Kelce is a must go during the season. Adam Thielen's a must go. Like even if you're getting thirds or fourths, like you've got to get off of these players. They're already on the verge of cliffing. I'm moving Rodgers for whatever I can get. Same thing with Dimes, Montgomery. So I think with this team, you have a good start. Being down your first, it makes sense why you have those type of assets too. I don't think, even though you have those great players, I don't think your team is going to be realistically, like I don't see this team being a contender without pushing in more draft capital. So I'm going ahead and kind of nuking and rebuilding this thing without my first. But you're off to a great start having assets like this. I will say though, I would be willing to move off of Chase in the scenario that like you're getting a serious return and it's probably a down tier. Like if I could go from Chase to maybe Tet and a couple first, like I'd be willing to listen, but I'm not just I'm probably not liquidating Chase when I have a roster that has him, Hunter, and Brock Bowers, especially because this is another pretty shallow starting roster, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, you got start 9. Both of these are start 9s. Guys like Chase are really hard to acquire. So him and Bowers, I think, could go, but you're going to have to pay up for him. But I think you're off to a great start. One thing I will tell you is in this type of format, I'd also see if I'd be targeting 27 first with the team you have, because I think 26 probably without that first is probably not going to be your window, and I think accumulating extra 27 first are going to be, those are chips that you can end up moving around because people view the 27 class really highly. That's where I'm at. Okay, so hold on, let's see. I just dropped Lane for Woody Marks this morning. Great move. You're already on the right track. Sold a lot for picks, rebuild last year. Okay, appreciate it. Yeah, of course, dog. I got you. I've sent Nico Stroud, and I sent Nico, CJ Stroud, and a second right now. Oh, that's for the Chase? Yeah, that would make sense. W. All right, ladies, gents, everybody. Oh, I got a couple questions I'll get to so before we get up out of here. Would you still do that trade knowing this? In the league, the worst team doesn't get the 101. The worst team has the best odds to get the 101. Oh. Damn it, Phil. You wanted to wait. You wanted me to say yes, and then you wanted to go to here, huh? Nah, probably not. I don't think I personally am. No, I don't think so. It depends how great the odds are, and if I have a chance to get the 105 or 106, absolutely not. No. That changes quite a bit. If you could have a song play anytime you enter a room, what song would it be? Oh my gosh. This is diabolical. This is a diabolical question. Man, that is, you know what? Because Ohio State is playing, I want the marching band, the Ohio State theme song. Let's go. The OHIO. We're about to take down Texas. That is an absolutely diabolical question, AJ. I'm gonna give you that. All right, big dogs, I love you. Make sure you go check out bdg.co. If you're at this point in the video, you're finding this useful and actionable, please go check out bdg.co for $9.99 a month. $9.99 a month. That was a little bit quick. $9.99 a month. You become a Big Dog member. You'll get access to the Discord, Nick, myself, and all of these great, beautiful people in here. AJ's going to start asking you questions about your personal life. It's the place to be, man. I can promise you that. Going to be doing these again, continuing every single Saturday. You get access to my Dynasty ranks, all kinds of great stuff. I'll see you back here. I don't know if it's going to be the same time, but possibly same time, same place next week on Saturday. Love you. We're out of here. Smoochies.